Thank you, Delano. Now on Bounce, it's a hot topic in our country right now, domestic violence. We brought in Greg Hatcher of Hatcher Law Group tonight to talk about civil domestic violence issues, perhaps shed some light on this national conversation. Welcome to the show, Greg.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Of course, we've heard about the allegations against former Ravens player Ray Rice and Panthers star Greg Hardy. In Hardy's case, his girlfriend went to police, and Ray Rice's then fiance decided to marry him this year. And today we heard that the National Hotline for Domestic Violence has seen an 84% jump in phone calls since that elevator video involving Rice and his now wife aired last week. For women at home who may be in similar situations, what can they do to protect themselves?
Well, first thing I think they have to understand is they're not alone. I mean, statistics show that every 15 seconds in the United States, a woman is a victim of domestic violence. That's just a scary statistics. So first thing is, understand you're not alone. Reach out. There are a lot of great agencies, especially in the Mecklenburg County area, that will try to help out in these situations and explain to you what your options are, from going to therapy to going through the court system, getting protective orders, even helping press charges if that's what needs to happen.
Speaking of protective orders, that order of protections, what do they cover, what do they not cover?
All right, well, in the case with Greg Hardy, what we've been seeing the attention on was the misdemeanor charges. That was the criminal side of things. On the civil side, if she'd gone through and pursued all the way to completion, getting a civil domestic violence protective order, that literally is a stay-away order. Don't harass, don't threaten, don't harm, don't have third parties try to contact. There can't be any texting. It can even have stay away 100 yards if you need to. So those can encompass everything that you want in order to have that person stay out of your life. Don't stalk, don't come around, nothing.
And I know sometimes with these protection orders, maybe it doesn't cover as much as the victim would like. I mean, is it up to a judge's discretion? How does that work?
It is completely up to the judge's discretion. The person that's seeking the protective order goes in and fills out the complaint. The complaint is a form used by the state. They say all the things that have happened and all the protection they want. And so then it's up to the judge to say, this is what I think is what's appropriate to protect you. But you've got to remember, this is a piece of paper. Okay? At the end of the day, even if it's registered with the sheriff's department or law enforcement, that piece of paper is not going to keep somebody from coming through the door. So you've got to be smart and think about staying out of certain areas until things cool down. I'm not saying the victim is to blame, but I'm saying you got to be smart. Don't go back to the same place if you think that person's going to be there and that person can't be controlled.
Because we've certainly had instances in my time as a reporter on the streets where, you know, it ended tragically and there was an order of protection on file.
That's right.
Moving to Janae Rice, because a lot of people, men and women alike, have judged her for her decision to stay with Ray Rice, at least at this current time, her alleged abuser. What advice, if any, would you give her or someone like her, like in that sort of specific situation?
Well, I'd circle back around and say they're not alone. What's interesting is all the criticism she's received. If you notice, if you're reading the articles from other victims of domestic violence, the first words that come out of their mouth are not, how could you make this decision? How could you defend him? That's typical of being in an abused relationship, to defend the person and say that he's not all bad. So my advice to her would be, one, she's got to break this cycle of domestic violence. She's got to go meet with someone who can say, step back, see it from a third party's way of looking at this. All the good that he may do in your life doesn't outweigh the harm that you've suffered. The videos are just scary to see that, and that's the first time we actually see it in a while where it's been captured. Most of the time these things happen, and they happen privately.
Doors.
You know, he didn't know that there was an elevator camera there.
Or probably wasn't thinking like that.
Exactly. So she needs to step away from that and have somebody say, look, re-examine where you are in life and what you think you're getting out of this relationship. That's what I would tell them.
And I think so many outsiders don't understand that cycle of abuse. I want to get in another question here. For people who may be thinking they don't want to go through the hassle of the court system, they may be viewing it that way, is it worth it to go through that process?
I think sometimes you don't have a choice but to go through the court system. And you can say, you know what I'll do is I'll just end this relationship and go away. That ignores the whole dynamic of domestic violence in some ways. Here's the beeper, here's the pager, always be where I need you to be. That person that's going to treat you in that relationship is not going to take no for an answer. When you say, I'm sorry, the relationship's over, I doubt that guy's going to say, okay, well, I'll just move on to try to meet someone else. So I think you have to be brave completely, see what help is available, and I think you have to go through the court process, even though it may be long and you may have to face those demons. I think that's really the ultimate outcome you've got to seek if you want to get the protection you want.
Greg Hatcher with Hatcher Law Firm. We appreciate your time tonight. We have more information on WVTV.com. All you have to do is look in the web extras section under the home tag. Again, Greg, we appreciate your time tonight offering your expertise.
Thank you.
Delano?
We have